Ras is mine and mine alone. Nadira cannot take him away from me. Once I sprayed this Kayamata ointment on Nadira's nightgown, Ras's love for her would fade. Hyoma, what are you spraying on my nightgown? Ras is mine and mine alone. This Kayamata must work. Once you wear this, he will forget you ever existed.
Give me back my nightgown now!
No, over my dead body. Give me back my nightgown now! Talking to myself now, but it feels so good.
It all started in the prestigious International Afric College, a melting pot of brilliance, beauty, and hidden drama. Elite African students who gained admission for their intellectual prowess attended the university from every corner of Africa. There are students from Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa, Rwanda, Kenya, Sierra Leone, Uganda, and Ethiopia, all chasing degrees and sometimes each other. Among them were two inseparable girls who shared a cozy room in the female hostel. Their names were Chioma and Nadira. Chioma Nicholas was a beautiful, bold, and dramatic Nigerian young lady. She was the kind of girl who could fight over a charger like it was ancestral land. Nadira Fatua was Kenyan. She was calm, graceful, and effortlessly beautiful. The kind of lady who did not chase attention, yet somehow owned it. They were best friends, roommates, and sisters by choice. If you saw Chioma, Nadira was nearby, like data and battery life, until the day everything changed. Things fell apart the day Ras Desta walked into Chemistry 111 class, tall, dark, and oozing with royal aura. He was a handsome Ethiopian prince with a smile that could make even lecturers forget their own notes. Even Professor Wright, a visiting lecturer from America, paused mid-sentence when he walked in, and Chioma was gone, mentally checked out, spiritually distracted, and academically finished. Whatever Professor Rice said in Chem 111 class was his own cup of tea, because for those few moments in class, Ras wasn't just a crush. He became a mission, and missions have casualties. It started small with a hi after class, a shared laugh in the cafeteria, a casual, "Can I sit here?" But Ras didn't just sit with Chioma, he also sat with Nadira. At first, Chioma laughed it off. My friend, you too like fine boys, so she teased. Leave fine boys and focus on your studies. You know we are freshman students. Nadira smiled. Please, he's just nice. Nice? That word would later cause chaos. Soon, Ras became a regular in their space. They had movie nights together, group assignments, even late night gist sessions. But something shifted. He laughed harder at Nadira's jokes. He stayed longer in an enthralled way when she spoke. And one evening, Chioma saw it, their hands brushing for too long, too intentional, too dangerous. That was the night jealousy was born, and jealousy never stays quiet. Chioma began to change. Small things at first, passive-aggressive comments. Some people shall like collecting what is not theirs, she would jokingly say, and Nadira would laugh it off. But deep down, she knew this was no longer harmless. It had slowly blossomed into a situationship, because Ras was not dating either of them. He floated. 1 minute, he was calling Chioma my queen. Next minute, he was telling Nadira that she was different. Imagine such classic confusion as a lifestyle. Ras had become the kind of man who gives you almost love, but never commitment. Yet, both girls stayed, because hope is a dangerous drug, and because of the juicy benefits they gained from hanging out with Ras. Ras spoils them silly. Today, he would take Chioma out on a shopping spree to buy any designer clothes of her choice in expensive boutiques. Tomorrow, he would take Nadira swimming, then surprise her with a boxed package that contained 10 boxes of different human hair worth $5,000. Then came Ras's 22nd birthday. He threw a birthday house party in one of the exquisite mansions he had rented off campus, inviting all and sundry, including Chioma and Nadira. It was a night when young people partied hard, wild and free. Chioma arrived at the party, only to find out that Ras had already picked Nadira as his date for the party. She sat down at a corner, fuming quietly as she watched Nadira clinging all over Ras like paper to glue. Then she couldn't take it anymore. Chioma stood up, walked up to Ras and confronted him, asking him why he was playing games with her. "I'm the one who is supposed to be in your arms right now," she said, expecting Ras to adjust and losing himself from Nadira's hold the moment he saw her. But Ras only cleared his throat and said, "Look, she-girl, you're both pretty ladies and I can't seem to let any one of you go. Instead, I propose we just team up. You know, you scratch my back and I scratch yours." He ended his sweet talk, winking at Chioma and Nadira. "What do you mean by that?" Nadira asked, finally speaking. The air thickened as Ras dropped the bombshell. "A threesome. Let's all be friends with benefits. No strings attached. In return, you can ask me for anything and I'll do it," he drawled, a mischievous glint in his eyes. Chioma and Nadira locked gazes, their faces a mask of nonchalance, but their eyes betraying a flicker of intrigue. They nodded in unison, like puppets on a string, as if it was the most normal thing in the world. Little did they know that the real game had just begun, and jealousy was about to get a whole lot more complicated. But then, one night, Chioma scrolled through Ras's phone while he was sleeping. Then she saw it. Messages, hundreds of them, lots from Nadira, from multiple girls, different countries, different time zones. Same sweet lies. "My one and only, my future wife, my African queen. I've never felt this way before." Chioma froze after reading all the messages. Her heart did not break. It hardened, because suddenly this was no longer about love. It became about winning, and in her mind, Nadira was the first obstacle. But Nadira, she had her own little secret, because what Chioma did not know was that Nadira had already tried to leave Ras, multiple times actually, but Ras always came back with apologies, gifts, promises, and one shocking confession. "I can't choose between you and Chioma, you both complete me." Madness, pure madness. Yet somehow, they stayed trapped in the same emotional prison until the night everything exploded. It was the night the trio were supposed to have their first threesome. At 7 p.m. dot, Chioma and Nadira glammed up their faces and dressed in breathtaking dinner gowns, all to ensure that they looked good and smelt nice for the task ahead. They walked down the lobby of Hotel Euphoria, their steps in sync, as their eyes darted across the area, searching for room 409. When they finally saw it, they knocked on the door softly. Ras responded immediately. "Come in," he said sweetly. He had arrived to the room an hour ago and couldn't wait any minutes longer for the show to get started. The moment both ladies entered the room, Ras's eyes stayed glued on Nadira. It was as though he was suddenly blind to the presence of Chioma. Ras suddenly turned to Chioma, staring at her like someone who was hypnotized. "You can go home, she-girl. I think I'll have just Nadira tonight," he said, shifting his gaze back to Nadira and beckoning on her to come lay by his side. Chioma froze in shock. "Why?" she managed to mumble, but her question only met silence. Ras's full attention by now was already on Nadira as he moved closer to her. Chioma knew that she did not need a soothsayer to tell her that she was not wanted, so She stormed out of the room, infuriated. Ras has continuously picked Nadira over me, even when I'm the one who first saw him. Why? Am I not as beautiful as she is? Of course I am. I just think Nadira has a kind of hold over him, and I must find a way to break it. Ras is mine, and mine alone, Chioma whispered to herself as she walked out of the hotel building to stop a taxi. That was when an evil thought crossed her mind. When she succeeded in stopping a taxi, she told the driver to take her to a certain address on a dark street. It was where the shop of Babatok Nadu was located. Babatok Nadu was a love doctor who specialized in selling love charms and potions for small change. Nadira was lucky enough to meet him before he closed for the day. She purchased an ointment enclosed in a small spray bottle and was instructed to spray it on any of Nadira's clothes, especially something she would likely wear to see Ras. Once she did that, Ras would lose interest in Nadira and become spellbound to her. She thanked Babatok Nadu and hurried back to the hostel to carry out the task. This point takes us back to the present. The struggle, the blow, the river. Chioma thought it was over. She returned to campus the next day, acting normal, even crying publicly. Where is Nadira? She's missing, Chioma asked, while crying loudly, putting on an Oscar-worthy performance, and everyone who heard her crying really thought that she cared. Hostel searches began. Students protested. The police got involved. Then, 7 days later, Nadira walked into campus in broad daylight, alive, weak, but alive. The entire school froze. Hey Moonlight family, if you'd love to watch the part 2 of this story, please subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever a new video is posted. Thank you so much for always watching our stories unfold. I'd like to know where our stories reach. So tell me where you're watching from in the comment section and I'll respond to you immediately. I'm Jane of Moonlight Tales by Jamie, and I would like you to know that no relationship is worth losing your sanity or your soul. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.